Hi, in this video, I'm going to show you how to manage your SharePoint sites using the SharePoint Essentials Toolkit. With this tool, you can report on all sites and list settings in bulk, such as view all document library versioning settings in one page, correct them, and schedule tasks to automatically enforce these version policies set out by your governance committee. You can also report on and find lists and libraries not modified in the last 6 months, report on all lists with unique permissions, or simply build a report on all list sizes or site collection space used. You will see that this tool is simple to use with a short learning curve for site owners and SharePoint administrators. It is really a 4-step process of scan, report, analyze, and enforce. To get started, you first need to add the sites that you manage. When you first open the tool, the homepage dashboard will be empty. We will click on Add Site and enter the URL of the first site you want to report on. In this demo, I'm going to add the marketing site collection. The tool will grab this site and all subsites under it. From here, we have the marketing site under a default group called Discover Group. You may see this called My Group 1 in other versions of this tool. This is just a way to group your sites and keep them organized. We can rename it to something more informative like SP 2013 Production for your production environment. Here's a tip. If you have multiple sites listed here, you can hold Shift to multi-select them and build a report for all of them at once. Now we're all set up, we can create a report. Simply right-click the site and click Create Site Audit Report. From here you have different report options where you can select the information to audit, as well as some export options. Here we're going to also export this report to a SharePoint list. You can see there is also an option to schedule this job, such as daily or weekly. We're all set. Let's click Scan now. You can see the active logs displays progress once it starts. Normally a site with 20 to 30 lists takes anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes. If you have a large site to report on, you can schedule this report or break up the scan job using the inclusion rules in the previous window. Now the report is done. Let's take a look at it. In this demo, we are going to look at the list settings report. Here we are only looking at a report for one site, but you can also view all list settings in a single report across multiple site collections or even farms, such as managing all lists in your Office 365 environment and on-premise local environment in one single list settings report. Again, here is a list settings report for a single site collection. You can see there's a lot of information captured here, such as last modified info, which we could filter if we wanted to, as well as other information such as list version settings. One of the powerful features of this tool is the ability to group the data on the fly, pivoting this information and seeing what we want to dynamically. This is similar to our other components of this toolkit, such as Permissions Manager and Broken Links Manager. Once we have the information how we want it, we can easily save this report view for later. These views can also be applied to reports that are emailed on the schedule. I'm going to call this Grouped by Versioning Setting. Now we have this grouped, we can analyze the information and check what may be invalid, such as if we need to change specific library major and minor versions to a specific number. Let's say there is a new governance policy for 2016 to update all document library versions from major version to 50 and minor versions to 30. The first thing is select the lists or libraries that need to adhere to this policy. In this demo, I'm going to select just 2 of the libraries to apply this policy. Alternatively, you could group by template type equals document library and apply it to all. To validate your list settings, you could easily right-click on a row and click Open List Settings. The list or library settings will open in your default web browser. We can see that the current version settings for these 2 libraries is 30 major versions and nothing limiting the minor versions. Next, I will set what I want to enforce. There are multiple options here, such as forcing inheritance of permissions, auto-cleaning old versions in a library, and in this case, I'm going to enforce the major and minor versions allowed. Again, in this example, I am only updating 2 lists from a single site collection, but I could also have reviewed a report of all lists across multiple site collections and potentially have hundreds of lists updated here to enforce this versioning setting, and optionally schedule it. There's also a History Change Log button to view all changes that have been made. Here I have saved this job so I can reuse it later. Now that I have set what I want to enforce, I click Run Now. Now that the job is complete, we can view the list I wanted to update, and we can validate the settings. This was just a demonstration of reporting on list settings and enforcing a simple versioning policy. The tool also has many other options you can use to manage the sites and lists you are responsible for. We had also set the report job to export to SharePoint. We can view this list online now. Note that you can add views for this report, and the tool will keep these views intact and only update the report data when a job is run. Internal field names are used so you can rename them if you need to and add new columns to help with reporting. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this to be useful. To download a trial version of this tool, visit us at www.QIPoint.com.